Okay, I'm going to say hi and welcome to everybody. My name is Nadine. I am a physical therapist and athletic trainer, and this is my practice, my clinic space here, Elevate Performance and PT. I'm going to just give you a little housekeeping. There is not a restroom on this floor, so if you need to use the bathroom, if you just go outside the door you came in to the right, the stairs are there, and it's up one floor to the second floor, and literally when you open the staircase door, the bathrooms are right there on your right-hand side. So restrooms are up there. There are some snacks just behind you, to your left, I guess, that way. And there's cold water in the refrigerator and room temperature water on the counter if you would like that. There's also a drinking fountain just outside the door here. If there's anything else that you need temperature-wise or anything like that from a housekeeping perspective, please just wave at me or come talk to me. I'll be kind of hanging out in the back. And I think that's all from a housekeeping perspective. Thank you for coming. I'm super excited to have you guys here and give you a little information about the endocannabinoid system. So I do a bit of what I would call integrative physiotherapy. I kind of look at the whole person and treat differently. And for years have had people asking me about cannabis, or I've said, they'd ask, hey, is cannabis helpful for me? And I say, yes. And that's all I could answer, right? And so then I met Dr. LeTa in July, and now I can actually give them a better explanation. So I'm super excited to have you guys kind of learn some of that as well. So I'm going to let Dr. LeTa introduce herself and give you a little bit of her background, and then she'll tell you about the endocannabinoid system.
Thank you. So I'm super grateful to be here. This is my second time here. And so let me just show of hands. Who has been on cannabis before? Okay. Have you been on CBD? So who has not tried CBD? Okay, yay. All right, well, this is a physical therapist office, right? So who's open to starting with some burpees? Anybody? Okay, see if they're awake. All right. Okay, I'm from Boston. That means I like to talk fast. But if you have any questions, stop me, because if it's something that you're thinking about that's not going to allow you to be present, just raise your hand and ask me. Otherwise, we'll save some questions for the end. So I'm Dr. LeTa. I did my capstone on the medical benefits of cannabis. I was really interested in looking at the history of cannabis in Chinese medicine. So I found a lot of interesting things. I'll go through some of them during this presentation, but my main goal for you is to understand, how can you get the benefits of cannabis without getting high? I don't know about you, but most people in society, we have to be upright and functioning in the world, operating machinery. We want people present and awake. We don't want people numbed out. There's enough people that are numbed out for other reasons. So let's do our part. So I apologize if you can't see some of the slides with the font or just because of the screen, but if you have any questions, let me know. The reason I put this slide up first is the timeline. So 8,000 BC, okay, is when they started to look at using cultivation of hemp. So let's put this into perspective. How long have humans been around? 250,000 years. I mean, this is like evolution, civilization. What about farming? Farming, agriculture, about 10,000 years. So Carl Sagan in 1977 said what? He believes that cannabis was probably the first thing that we ever cultivated as farmers in agriculture. So just to put things into perspective, cannabis is one of the first original 50 Chinese herbs. So in China, we've used it for so many things. I mean, in war, soldiers, the military required farmers to grow cannabis. So when the military passed through, you could wrap the leaves, it would stop bleeding. Obviously, soaked in alcohol would be an analgesic for pain. A lot of different conditions. Then you started to see 6,000, 4,000 BC, the using for food and other textiles, and then the medical in Chinese medicine was 2700 BC is when it was actually written down, the medical benefits of cannabis and CBD, cannabinoids. In Chinese medicine, Da is for cannabis. In this state, we're allowed to use everything now, but when I first moved here in 2002, we were only allowed to use the cannabis seeds, Palmaren, and they're good for constipation. So again, is cannabis, CBD great for constipation? Yes. So a little bit of history. Since cannabis has been around forever, it grows all over the planet Earth, just like you see a redwood or a cedar tree, no one planted them. So cannabis just grows. So what would happen to the United States? Well, in 1851, the pharmacopoeia says, yes, it's a legitimate medical compound. And then what happened? Well, medication started coming in. There was a lot of reasons with politics of when the Marijuana Tax Act of 1937 came in. But the main thing I want to mention here, after the 1970 Controlled Substance Act, they labeled cannabis as a Schedule I with heroin and LSD. But in 1999, U.S. government filed a patent on the medical benefits of cannabinoids as being an antioxidant and neuroprotectant. And it was actually filed in 99, but passed in 2003. This is 2018, right? So we're just saying now, or 2017 or 2015 medical cannabis, but that there is actually a medical benefit, even though in 1999 they already claimed it. So, you know, again, this herb has had a major history of with politics. So let's look at these conditions. We might have experienced some of these. We might know somebody that has some of these conditions, but they're all influenced by cannabinoids. Okay, I'm going to go into some definitions in a minute. That's a lot. So let's talk about the endocannabinoid system. So this is a system in your body. It's a network. Think of visually your nervous system. It's a system of receptor sites. It's like lock and key, sensory. Okay, your nervous system has a lot of functions. This system has more receptor sites than your nervous system. So that's going to tell you this is a pretty vast system. Now, what does the system do? Well, the first thing is it makes these endocannabinoids. Endo just means internal. They're like neurotransmitters. They're signaling things to do in your body. You have these receptors that are called cannabinoid all throughout the body. And I'll go into where the locations are. Now, these endocannabinoids that are made on demand in your brain, they're going to help your body, when needed, bring your body back into balance, homeostasis. Okay? So essentially, you have this system that's going to, when it's stressed out, anxiety, insomnia, inflamed, you know, whatever the situation is, it's out of balance, it's going to produce an endocannabinoid to bring everything back. That's really basic. We'll go a little bit further, but that's basic. So the main job of the system is to make sure that you are in balance, homeostasis, okay? Any kind of perceived stress. Now, why does this one plant, this one herb, help so many conditions? It's because of the system. Now, I realize you can't read those, so I'll read them out loud. Respiratory system, the lungs, right? We have the digestive system, endocrine, exocrine, sensory, renal, nervous system, reproductive system, cardiovascular, lymphatic, immune, and musculoskeletal. So you know about all these systems. The only reason we discovered the endocannabinoid system is because of science and technology. But that system at the top, that green one, the endocannabinoid system, plays a role in every single other system in your whole body. It's conducting, it's regulating. So for instance, if you're having issues in your digestive system, one of the systems in your body, you want to look towards that, but you also want to look to the endocannabinoid system because it's supposed to make sure everything's back to balance. Okay? I mentioned this. More cellular receptor sites than any other system in the body. So what does it actually do? Well, it's involved in every aspect of your health. These are listed here because of where the receptor sites are. Most people know about the nervous system, the digestive system, immune. A lot of people know about muscle because people know cannabis has been for multiple sclerosis. But again, it's going to mediate a lot of different aspects. Now, what is it going to regulate? Pain, appetite, sensation, inflammation, mood, energy, stress response, motivation, and reward. This is a huge one right now. So let's talk about these receptors. started with the sea squirt. All the way back when. We're looking at 25 million years ago. And then the other studies saying that the CB, the cannabinoid receptor, is 600 million years ago. So all this is saying every living thing with like a vertebrae has this endocannabinoid system, not just humans. So you'll probably have noticed pet CBD, right? Because those four-leggeds also have this system. So where are these receptors located? So there's two kinds of receptors, CB1 and CB2, and all that means is they're named by location. So CB1 receptors are located in the brain, the central nervous system, nerves, and specific organs. So adipose tissue, connective tissue, your endocrine, exocrine glands, heart, liver, spleen, tonsils, testes, and the uterus. Now CB2 receptor locations is immune system cells. So you have your macrophage, monocytes, T cells, B cells, lymphocytes, and then your tonsils, GI tract, okay? Okay, this is my one slide for us to step back and think about what are we doing here? Because most of us know that, because it looks like we don't have too many young people in the crowd. Is there anyone under 30? I was thinking you're probably under 30. Okay, you're the only one. Yay, under 30. But your experience here on planet Earth is what? It's in your body. It's in your mind, in your heart. You have peace. Regardless if you're lying next to someone every night for 20 years, you have your own experience on the planet. Okay, you know how you're doing with stress, thoughts, cyclical thinking, worrying, how you're managing money. Do you really feel like being social? So are you saving? So every aspect of the human experience, are you recycling? Are you voting? You are your own, discernment or judge based on, am I living the life I want to live? Am I present? Can I have deep interconnected relationships with others? Okay. We can talk about heart coherence. We can talk about your purpose and why you're here. But this system, the endocannabinoid system, is about balance, but it's also about thriving. Okay. It's about being uprighted in the world, being a happy, productive human. Okay. So the reason cannabis and CBD is really popular right now is because it's legal. So people that are trying CBD for the first time, it's been pretty miraculous because they've never had access to it. They've had access to turmeric or acupuncture, other modalities, of course. But this system is going to work. It's going to produce these cannabinoids when you need them if you have what? If you have nutrition and dietary cofactors already in your body. All that means is, are you eating, lean proteins? Are you getting your vegetables in? Are you eating, berries, getting water, moving your body? You're an integrative person, okay? And I say that it's somewhat of a marketing thing now, integrative holistic medicine, but that's actually where we're at. Everything that you think and do, eat and drink is either going to be medicinal, conversations, interactions, medicinal, neutral, or toxic, okay? So in order for your endocannabinoid system to work, you need to eat well. If you have these nutrition and dietary cofactors in your body, good fats, good proteins to make a long amino acid chains, then what? Then your body, your endocannabinoid system can actually produce on demand these cannabinoids. And then again, goes to lock and key receptor sites. We don't have to go into the details, but it's going to keep your body at optimal health. Okay, so that's just the only thing I'll say about you eating well. Okay, so let's talk about some specifics. So current research right now, they're already discovering the endocannabinoid system in the embryo at 6 weeks. Okay, they were, I was told that you couldn't regenerate brain cells. That's not true. Neuroplasticity is huge. Neuroprotection. So the ones that are started, I'm going to go into detail in a little bit. Right now, immunity, inflammation, cancer, so cellular death, which is apoptosis, carcinogenesis, pain, hunger, metabolism. So right now, this is where the most funding is on cannabinoid medicine. So let's talk about these cannabinoids. I've mentioned them. Well, there's 4 types, okay? So there's phyto, which phyto means plant. So you can get these cannabinoids from a plant. I talked about the endocannabinoid system. You make endocannabinoids, so they actually are produced in the brain. Synthetic, you can make cannabinoids in a lab. Ooh. And you can also get cannabinoids that mimic, right? So they're terpenes. So I want to give you an example of clove and black pepper. So for instance, if you take clove or black pepper, they're high in beta carotene. I have a hard time saying that word. Have you guys heard about that? Copaiba, it's essential oil. So what happens is that it's going to work on your CB2 receptors, which is great if that's what you want, if you have immune issues. But if you have other issues based on CB1 receptors, it won't do anything. So people always ask me when a company comes out with something that has Copaiba or some other mimic of a cannabinoid, it's not that it's not good. It just depends on what you're using it for. So it's not going to be a full spectrum like CBD, where CBD is going to operate on CB1 and CB2 receptors. Does that make sense? So yes, get your black pepper, get your frankincense, your maca. Those are really good things to get in, but it's not going to be a full spectrum effect just like CBD. So just know that. But they're very good for you. Okay, so I really want to talk about the two that you make. The first one is called anandamide. Ananda is Sanskrit for bliss. So what I love about this is the first one that was identified in 1992. 1992, no wonder why this is news for people. It's also found in chocolate. So when you eat chocolate, sometimes, or I hope that you feel happier, blissful, because anandamide is pooling in the blood. It's produced during meditation. And it's also part of the runner's high. You've heard of those people that can run and they get high? Who's one of those people? Anybody?
Never wanted to try that.
So you make this. So this is kind of now explaining what that looks like. I love it. Now the second one is called 2-arachidonoglycerol. So we nickname it 2AG for short. It's found in animal milk, breast milk. So what does this mean? Your mom was the first one to get you high. Isn't that fun? Yeah, I love it.
Yes.
It has, I don't have to go into all those different aspects, but you make these. Now, this, the anandamide is called the bliss molecule, but 2AG is the motivation to thrive molecule, okay? So this has to do with, so obviously depression, but when they did this study here is they blocked the 2AG in rats, and even though they had the suckling mechanism, they died. They had no desire to live, okay? So when you're not making this, or if you know people that are not making this, they might show up as emotionally flatlined, not motivated, right? So I talk about cannabinoids, endogenous, the two that you make. Now I want to talk about the ones that come from the plant, because if you're not making these two on demand, which if you have symptoms, then you're obviously not making the levels that you need. The good news is you can get them from a plant. You can get them from the cannabis plant. You cannot get these cannabinoids to bind to these receptors in your brain and all over your body, your organs, from spinach or kale. You can only get them from a cannabis plant, okay? So THC and CBD, if we were to extract the oil from the plant, just like an essential oil like lavender or chamomile, right? This is an essential oil. Then you're going to mostly find, depending on the plant, THC and CBD, but there's over 160 cannabinoids, okay? So, for instance, Delta-9 THC is psychoactive, just like THC. You also have, these aren't all of them, but you'll notice there are really good benefits to the other cannabinoids. So we talk about whole plant synergy, but notice the benefits of CBD. There's a lot of them. Okay, let me list a couple because it's really small. Antibacterial, it's neuroprotective, inhibits cancer cell growth. What I love is that it reduces blood sugar levels. It's huge for people. Small intestine contractions. We know about pain and anxiety. Psoriasis is another big one for people. Inflammation, seizures. It promotes bone growth. Within 2 weeks, it's been amazing for my mom. Broken bones. Really incredible what CBD can do. So Notice the blue. Those are all the benefits of CBD. Now, the other cannabinoids have benefits, just not as much as CBD. The first line is THC. So the reason medical cannabis became legal because it helps with pain, vomiting and nausea, mainly from the chemo, suppresses muscle spasms, so any sort of MS, Parkinson's, and then stimulates appetite for cancer patients. So that's why THC is so amazing. But we're here to talk about, wow, the benefits of cannabinoid medicine. Most of us are wanting to get the CBD. So some people get confused about, is it hemp, is it cannabis, is it marijuana, what is this stuff? Weed, ganja. So I actually took out kingdom and all that kind of stuff, and I jumped down to family, genus, species, and subspecies. So the family is hemp. The genus, hemp or hops, so hops is the beer. So we're talking about genus Cannabis L, which is hemp. Okay, but I left the hops in there so you can see the two genus. And then the species is Cannabis sativa L / marijuana. This is in the book, the botany. Plants.usda.gov. And then the subspecies is indica or sativa. Okay, just to give us an understanding of why is it called hemp, why is it called marijuana and cannabis. Now, most people I know don't call it marijuana because of our government and the history of that. Are you guys aware of that at all? Who's not aware of marijuana, the name? Okay, I'll just tell you, it's honestly up to you. I don't choose to use it. The name was coined as a derogatory term for when the 1930s, they were trying to have Mexico be coined as drug lords. So Mary and Juan. So it was actually targeted to them. So most of us in the medical community, we use the word cannabis. And then as far as sativa and indica, they're all used for different things. Ruderalis is not used really at all, but sativa and indica are used. And again, some of them have higher THC, some of them have higher CBD. Right now, as of 2016, the end of 2016, these were ranked in order of prescribed medical cannabinoids by MDs, okay? Pain is the first, mental disorders, so depression, anxiety, stress, then the cancers, GI, insomnia, migraines, etc. So this is, again, this is a study of, I think it was probably only 1,000 doctors, but what did we prescribe medical cannabis for? Okay, so let's talk about endocannabinoid tone, because the question you should be asking yourself is, now that I've introduced what cannabinoids are, am I making them? And if I'm not making them, why am I not making them? Can I get my body to make them? Or am I going to have to be on this this external oil for the rest of my life? So endocannabinoid tone was coined by this Dr. Ethan Russo. He's got all the funding from UPenn right now. He says that it's the balance of your CB1 and CB2 activity at any given moment, okay? Again, as a reminder, CB1 and CB2 are your receptors. On demand, what do you need? Do you need motivation? Do you need bliss? I'll take both. So how do you cause poor endocannabinoid tone? Well, poor diet, lack of exercise, drug abuse, environmental toxins, genetic factors, chronic stress, and compromised health. Pretty basic, right? Pretty basic. If you're healthy, you have less inflammation if you're moving your body around during the day, if you're drinking water, which foods are you eating? Environmental toxins, that's a whole nother subject. Right now, if you were to look in PubMed and look at the clinical trials and human studies specifically on endocannabinoid deficiency, if over time your body's not producing these endocannabinoids and then you also decide not to take them from a plant, this is what we're seeing, okay? Now, women especially, we have the receptors in our female organs specifically for CBD. So that's why I always recommend to do bitters with the CBD, especially for women when you're having menstrual symptoms, infertility, PMS. Okay, so I want to go over two main concepts before I go into some things on how to safely get started and answer questions. So gene transcription modulation is the newest research on epigenetics, which means I was born with this DNA, these genes from my parents. Which genes are going to be turned on, which are not going to be turned on? Okay, will I ever express it? A lot of people have gotten the 23andMe and Ancestry DNA. Have you guys gotten that test done to see your genetics? Some of you? Okay. Well, if you're brave enough to look, you know, do you have the predisposition for Parkinson's or MS? Right. But some people will never, ever express that, even if it's a biomarker. Okay. So epigenetics is just the study of, am I going to turn on those genes or not? And you can change that and modify that with diet and lifestyle. So everybody knows that, I think, by now. Okay. I'll give you one more thing. So I was adopted. So I was interested in looking at adopted children and what chronic disease they got with their adopted parents, and it was the same. So adopted children ended up with the exact same chronic disease as their adopted parents. Why? Lifestyle, diet, habits, how they dealt with money, their communication style, right? So Bruce Lipton in the 90s disproved genetics. So you don't ever have to express your genes if you don't want to. There's a lot of power in that. Go ahead and Google it. Bruce Lipton, Biology of My Belief, great book. So the reason this is really popular right now, and they're getting a lot more funding on it, but this first study was from Britain. But when you take CBD, they've already figured out that it's going to reduce cancer, it's going to reduce brain cancer, breast cell cancer, any sort of aggressive cancer, because it acts like a Pac-Man. CBD, when it comes into the cell, the DNA is going to unwind, your immune's going to scan cancer cell. CBD pooling in the blood over time, boom, it's going to eat up the cancer cell, but leave the healthy cells. It's a really basic way of saying this. 1,200 genes or more are affected by CBD, okay? 680 are going to be turned on, and 884 are going to be turned down. So what does that mean? Turned down looks like inflammation's going crazy, okay? Turn on means let's open up glutathione antioxidant pathways. So all this means is that what they're finding is that when you have CBD in the body, it's not just doing one thing, okay? Just in this alone, it's going to affect over 1,200 genes, and if they're going to express in a good way or a not good way. The gentleman who discovered CB1 and CB2 receptors and discovered anandamide and 2-AG, Raphael Mechoulam in Israel, he says that CBD is the new multivitamin. From the research they're finding, it's pretty incredible. Now, this is a hot topic. This is the other big one that I wanted to talk about tonight, brain inflammation. So we used to think brain inflammation was for people that had like autoimmune. If they had Parkinson's, they had, multiple sclerosis, our NFL players, people that had CTE injuries. What we're finding is that more people have brain inflammation than we think. And it does happen with aging, the third one down there. But it also happens with mercury, so metals in your mouth, any exposure of mercury, a lot of different places. Glyphosate, so that's what they're finding on Roundup. Mold toxins, Lyme, EMF. So we definitely want to be mindful of the 5G that's coming out. So EMF, so CBD is going to be really good to have on hand. Gut infections, glutamate, it's an excitatory neurotoxin, but too much MSG is going to be frying up the brain. So we're talking about brain on fire. So this is just an example of when you have MSG in the body, it's a cycle. So CBD comes in and it literally quiets down and dampers that fire on the brain. It's really incredible. So there are, I think I have some studies on another page about that. So if you want to look up that, but this is pretty interesting. Air pollution, passive smoke, viruses that could be latent from traveling internationally. A lot of different things are going to be causing this brain inflammation, and noticing what CBD does when it's in the body at the right amount and the timing, it's pretty impressive. Okay, so if you're sitting in this audience, you might be wondering, I have something specific, or I know someone that has something specific. Someone's either complaining to you about something. I'm going to go through these 5 main topics, but each subject has research, very specific research based on it. So if you're interested in learning, does CBD or how do I use cannabinoid medicine for this condition? Either go to PubMed, something reputable. Obviously, you can also ask me. Okay, so GI and digestion, main thing is around Crohn's, eating disorders, obesity, diabetes. The one thing about the liver is that it's helping preventing the accumulation of fats and lipids. So it's the people that are thin, but then they actually have visceral fat around the organs, especially around the liver. We call them skinny fat. And then young men, or I think young men in their 50s are not having heart attacks and such forth. So I like this that it opens up antioxidant pathways in the liver. It's going to actually regenerate the liver cells, so it's pretty incredible. Pain management, this is super popular. A lot of people try CBD for the first time because of pain, because it's going to downregulate the inflammatory cytokines. 1 in 5, and I should update this, it's more now, CBD for pain, 90%. Moderate to significant reduction. Really, really great. Affects perception of pain. So if you have someone that's in so much pain that can't get out of bed, I had a patient 2 days ago in San Mateo, was visiting her boat, sailboat, Coyote Point, and couldn't move. Got her a bottle of CBD, had a colleague of mine go visit her, do some acupuncture, but before the acupuncturist could get there, because he couldn't go after work, 5 o'clock, she was pumping CBD, and sure enough, she could get out of bed to go pee. So again, sometimes it's nice that you're changing your perception of pain enough to feel like you can actually move. And when you're moving your body, things are going to start to feel better, just in general. Every 17 minutes, 16 minutes, someone dies in this country of an opioid withdrawal. Now, the one thing to note is that you don't have receptors on your brainstem with cannabis, so you'll never hear that anybody overdosed. Now, again, if someone accidentally, has a pop brownie, you might feel like there's impending doom, but you will never, ever overdose, okay? Cannabis treats the symptoms of withdrawal. This is huge, huge. It's also looking at for addiction, okay? Side note, if you have someone in your life that has a severe addiction to opioids, heroin, methamphetamines, these are serious ones. It's really hard in this country to find treatment, so definitely come talk to me. I won't go over that because that's not what this presentation is about, but there's a lot we know and how to do that now. Oh, one other thing is that if you do know someone that took too much THC by accident, if you take pure CBD, it's going to pluck the THC off the receptor sites in the brain and they're going to come down. So you always want some CBD around. Okay, mental health. A lot with the vets, PTSD, a lot with stress, insomnia, depression, again, phobias, really great stuff with mental health. Brain health, again, it's been approved medically for a long time in this state, but now that it's legal everywhere. But seizures, long time, CBD is really amazing for seizures. Neuroprotection, bipolar's on there. Cancer, been around a long time, cannabinoid medicine for cancer. And because of science and technology and the studies now with cancer, we know so much more on what it actually does. Okay, so let's talk about other therapeutic considerations, because it's a confusing world out there with supplements. They're not regulated by the FDA, so you can order online from Mexico or Canada, I'm sure. You can go to Whole Foods, you can order from people that have medical degrees and have supplements in their office. But when we're talking about a substance, an oil, a plant, a supplement that's going to bind to receptors in your brain, you want to be picky on what you're taking, I think. So The first thing is we call cannabinoid synergism. So when you're extracting an oil, let's take lavender. Lavender has chemical components. It also has flavonoids and terpenes, which means what gives it the color, what gives it the smell. Now, cannabinoids from the cannabis plant are the term coined for the chemical constituent. Now, the only thing I'll mention about the flavonoids and terpenes is that those also have medical benefits. Limonene, right? So again, I don't know if you guys know about essential oils and when you extract the oil from a plant, but it's not just the lavender has, you know, a lot of different aspects to it. So with cannabis, it depends on the formulator and the chemist as well, because anybody can extract oil from a cannabis plant. But when you're making it into a dietary supplement to then dispense to people, it's about the formula. So when you go to the grocery store, why do you choose this tomato sauce over the other one, right? It's the person that's making it. Does it have basil? Does it have garlic? So again, the intention of the chemist and formulator of cannabinoid synergism is really important, okay? The one thing I'll say about that is the one that I like has wild orange essential oil in it instead of mint or cinnamon. Because when you look at the profile, the terpene profile, it's, you know, mint and cinnamon aren't that great. If you actually look at the terpene and flavonoid profile of wild orange, it's anti-inflammatory, and then it does like these 13 things, okay? Whole plant versus single molecule. So what's happening in the synthetic world, these pharmaceutical companies are extracting just CBD. But remember that pie chart, CBD, CBC, CBCA, you want other cannabinoids in it, okay? You don't want to just isolate one. Entourage effects, this just means you want your phytocannabinoids, you want your cannabinoids with the terpenes. Cannabis is an adaptogen, so it's going to help with stress. Actually, that's actually not, probably shouldn't have put that in there. I would like to have it organic. I want it grown underneath the earth in the sun, getting the full spectrum of the sun rays. I would not want it genetically modified. And because cannabis can also accumulate other things from the soil, you want it to be cultivated properly. So you might be asking yourself, if you're in the world and know about the multivitamins in this country, you know that a lot of those companies have petroleum in the multivitamins. It's really popular now, okay? You also will know that cannabis might have a lot of mold on it, just like coffee. So you want to be looking for what? When you get the testing of the supplement, a lot of supplements have a QRC code. It's batch testing, so you can look them up. Terpene profiling, potency, flavonoid, pesticides, residual solvents, mold, heavy metals. What's on this? So I think, I don't know if I told you, but if you saw my title, I'm a doctor of acupuncture and oriental medicine, and we prescribe Chinese herbs. Well, Chinese herbs have a lot of heavy metals on them, okay? Because Chinese, they don't cultivate biodynamic sustainable farming, okay? So when I get the readings from the companies, this is what I'm looking for. And I'm even stricter with cannabinoid medicine because I know it's binding to the brain, not just going through the GI tract like herbs. All right, how do we want to get cannabinoid medicine? Do we want to smoke it, do inhale it with a vape, roll a joint? Do we want to use nanotechnology, which is a small oil droplet that goes underneath the two blood vessels? It's kind of like oral. Tinctures, so liquid, take through the mouth, but digest through the stomach. Do we want to do ingestibles? So those are normally like baked goods or gummies. Topical, lotions, balms, or transdermal patches. It depends on what you have. I mean, I think like for my pain patients, I always say if you like topical, sometimes then you have to wash your hands. So for my patients over 80, sometimes they do the transdermal patch. If they're over 90, the skin's too elastic. So again, it just depends. So I always have people do the nanotech because it's like an oral IV. Because I don't want to rely on patients' digestion because it's an expensive molecule. Cannabis is expensive. I'm not into smoking. There's a huge lawsuit with vaping right now, so jury's still out on vaping. If you are gonna smoke, again, you want a mold-free flower, and obviously you don't want butane, a match, again, not ideal. So I'm really promoting, again, topicals and transdermal patches are great for pain throughout the day. I think ingestibles are mainly around THC. Tinctures, they're good, again, but you have to take more because you're going through the stomach. So I'm really interested in the small oil that is sublingual, kind of like the B12 dots. Oh. What kind of interaction? Yeah, mild euphoria, love it. All right, how do you start? Well, remember, CBD is non-psychoactive, so it's over the counter. You only have to go to dispensary if you want THC. Now, it gets confusing when you go to THC because they give you, if you buy the tincture, it's going to be a CBD to THC ratio. So they'll ask you, the people that are working behind the counter, that don't seem to know much, 4 to 1, 8 to 1, 30 to 1. Again, it's the ratio of CBD to THC, okay? If you have asthma, glaucoma, tumors, cancer, most likely you're not working or you're doing THC at night, you're going to want to just get a pure THC tincture, okay? If you're someone that wants to try THC. And I tell patients you start with 1 drop. Keep a notebook. When did you eat? 1 drop. How did you feel? How long did the pain go away, etc. Okay? But that's if you want THC. But remember that chart. You really want CBD because that cannabinoid medicine is really going to give you the effects you want. But if you have a severe medical condition, like I said, with cancer and tumors and stuff like that, and you're not driving and not working, THC might be a good option to add to the CBD. So this company is my favorite. It's my favorite for a lot of different reasons. It's a chemist, double PhD out of Boulder area, and he has the technology where he extracts the oil and he allows it, he actually mimics the human cell with this biophospholipid layer, 2-layer. So what happens is that your body identifies it so much it thinks it's its own cell, and it crosses a blood-brain barrier in 5 seconds. We tell people to hold it for 30, just for fun. But clinically, it only needs 5 seconds. So this company is phenomenal. They've been around for a little over a year. They launched last year on my birthday, June 8th. And the reason that this is so popular is because people can feel it so quickly. So normal CBD, 6 to 10%, maybe 16% bioavailability. Again, how do we measure this? An hour after you take it. Now I like this because the tinctures that I used to give to patients was the dropper. And you know what the dosage is? Typical CBD dosage, 30 to 40 drops. 1, 2, 3. It was this accurate dose pump. 1 pump, 2 pumps, depending on what you're taking it for. Love it. And again, it's the fastest way. Okay. So this product, again, has very low THC in the sense that if you were to take a blood test for a job, it would not be detected. It's non-GMO, grown in the earth, all those things that we talked about that were important, the profiling, terpene profiling. But also, it's gluten-free, soy-free, of course. It's in a glass bottle. What else did I going to say about it? Oh, the absorption rate. So I'm from Santa Cruz. So I don't know if you guys know about Santa Cruz, but we're known for like cannabis. Do people know that? Maybe it's because of the surfing community down there. So when CBD became legal, I started to look at, I had reviewed 76 companies. And it was really interesting because like 33 of them were just junk, fillers, like pretty bad. It's pretty known in the industry. Some people get in the industry for money. And then there's people that get interested for the medicine. And then I narrowed it down to 6 companies that I like. And then which one did I choose for my patients? Well, how many milligrams am I getting in the blood after an hour per dollar, right? Once you line up the companies that are grown in the earth, underneath the sun, not modified, clean, etc., how much are my patients absorbing? And it wasn't that these other 5 companies weren't good. They were clean and they were good. But it ended up being same price, same size bottle, 150, 1.7 ounces. I would have my patients have to do 5 bottles to the 1. What's 5 times 150? It's a lot.
Yeah.
So very interesting. Very interesting. That was an eye opener for me. Very fast absorption. Okay, let's review. So this Dr. Christopher Shade, again, 100% non-GMO organic. It has this specific technology. Non-THC, very low. It's going to have 97 to 100% absorption. It has phospholipids. It's a fat. And it's a dietary supplement approved for infants, legal in all 50 states. So, and again, this is hemp oil. So people say to me, you know, I was talking to a colleague in Tennessee, and he's like, CBD is illegal down here. And I was like, okay, but this isn't CBD. Because the thing is that CBD is patented by the government as an antioxidant neuroprotectant. You can't use that word CBD, okay? So you can think of it as cannabinoid medicine. If you were to break down the molecule of H2O, because I don't want to go into details of the molecule of CBD, but if you were to look at CBD under a microscope, it's from the family, genus, species, the hemp family. So that's why we call it hemp oil. So people get really confused, what's CBD oil and what's hemp oil? Just want to be mindful. In this country, hemp oil means less than 0.02% THC. So it's illegal. Does that make sense? Because remember, some CBD oil that companies are making has THC that you would get detected on a blood test. So definitely know that. You want hemp oil. Okay, so my last few questions are, before we stand up and move our bodies a little bit and have questions, ask yourself this question. What is your level right now of your physical, mental, emotional, spiritual health, your financial health? Would you be better off trying this hemp oil? And if you've already tried it, are you someone that's really interested in the sharing economy? Because my patients right now, as soon as they buy their first bottle, I share that I can get them for free. Because my mom even cheated on me. She's like, honey, it's so expensive. So I went and bought some on Amazon. I was like, okay. And she goes, well, it didn't work. Can you send me more? And I always tell my patients, go do your own research, absolutely. But what happens is that even if those other 5 companies that I like, my patients will never, ever get them for free because of this particular company and this business model. So Paul, the only thing you need to know about Paul, he's the CEO. He was a biodynamic sustainable farmer. And Chris, him too, he was a biodynamic sustainable farmer. And both of them had decided that this gentleman wants to clean up the earth because he grew up in a steel town near Philly. And he says, all these toxins are going into the earth, so I got to clean up people. So he wants to focus on the product line. So he came out with the hemp oil 25 years ago in Colorado. He also came up with a cleanse that he worked on for like 30 years. And he has a pet CBD that's coming out in 4 weeks. He teamed up with Paul, who's the business guy from Austin, Texas, and said, we're financially not well in this country. So let's come up with the business model that you can get an MBA at Stanford and Harvard at, marketing. This company has hemp protein food. It has an awesome lotion. But the main thing that I talk about, because I do environmental medicine down in Santa Cruz, technology, pollution, climate change, our food production, toxins, 5G, our bodies are not made to live in the world we're doing. So what's happening to our livers? They're tired. They're kind of pissed, actually. So in Chinese medicine, anytime you do alcohol, anytime you do a medication, it's liver fire. Remember that picture of brain on fire? Our livers are on fire. Why is the earth heating up? Because the humans are heating up. We're like on fire. So this is an oil. It's going to cool you down. I call it WG40. It's going to lubricate. So this is a 2-part system. Because the thing is that you can eat well and you can move your body, but if you don't have something, if you're not putting something in your system to bind the toxins and walk them out, how are they going to get out? Okay, the mold, the mercury. So this first one is a liquid. So this is a two-part system. You take the liquid, teaspoon underneath the tongue, goes under the blood vessels with the technology, swallow. It's going to take 30 minutes to take all the toxins and bring them to the gut. 30 minutes it takes, okay? 4 herbs, dandelion, solidago, gentian, and myrrh. Clean, amazing, okay? It's amazing. What can I tell you? It's going to move bile. It's going to obviously protect the liver. It's going to promote cellular hepatic glutathione production. It's going to balance inflammation. Then all the toxins are in your gut. 98% of the cleanses, I'm at fault before I knew Chris Shade like 3 years ago. Standard process, Metagenics, all these cleanses that only doctors can buy, they leave the toxins in the gut. They don't fully get out of the gut. People are wondering why they have digestive issues, okay? What's great about this cleanse is that you take this powder and it's gonna get rid of what? Mold, mercury, herbicides, endotoxins, endocrine disruptors, little plastics in your body that we're finding, inflammatory molecules, etc. So then you just add some water and shoot it down, and then boom. What do I like about this? No side effects. A good cleanse is going to be designed to help your body do what it naturally does. Your body's naturally detoxing all the time. It's just we don't do the oil change every 3,000 miles on our own body. We just don't. So the question is, how can we serve you? Do you want to get wholesale pricing? It's $39 for a year. It's going to give you a website so you can log on, you can order whenever you want, no minimum, no maximum, wholesale, $39 for your family. Great. They're also going to give you a website if you want other people to order from you. So what I tell my patients is, get the $39, sign up, share with your friends. Even if you're making a couple $100 a month, you're getting your products for free. You get support. I don't want to go into all these things. The company is amazing. They have an app. You can be updated on all the laws, education videos. It's pretty amazing. If you feel like you want to get the best deal, the reason I put this slide up is because I only order the 12-pack. The 12-pack, it ends up being like, I don't know, $90 a bottle instead of the $150. So I got 3 friends together and say, who wants 4 bottles each? Let's place an order. Every time, if you decide to share this with someone, you give your website out that they give you for free. Every time someone buys a pack, you make money. That's just how it is. So it's like Uber, it's like Airbnb, it's the sharing economy. And again, every time you share, you earn percentages, and it just grows. But this is the thing. We're at the beginning here. There's a timing of CBD in this country. I just gave a talk 3 weeks ago in Massachusetts. Cannabis has been legal there for over a year, and there's not one dispensary. Yeah. But also, people are dying to know about CBD. Every time I go back there and I give a talk, they standing room only. Right? People don't know. I feel like we're lucky we're in Bay Area. So they came out with the hemp oil. They came out with the cleanse, which I'm super excited about. The pet line's coming out in a few weeks. This company is really going for it. They have their own cryptocurrency token backed by cannabis, only of its kind. So when you pay your $39, you're allowed to get tokens that's going to be launched in 3 weeks. What I love about this company is that they hold these love fests that are educational and inspirational. It's kind of like, there's a lot of people that are service-based that want to get healthy and they want to live, they have missions. Stay-at-home moms that started a nonprofit. I mean, I could go on, but these are educational. The closest one to us is November 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. It's mainly the 2nd and 3rd in LA. It's $150 to go, and pretty life-changing. Pretty life-changing. Anybody can go as long as you pay that $39. So the question is, do I need CBD, or do I know people that need CBD? Yeah, you do. Do I need this cleanse? Yeah. Does everybody need this cleanse? Yes. Do I want it wholesale? Yes. Do I want to eventually get my products for free? Duh. So I'm here because I run a very traditional clinic and outdoor fitness company for 15 years in Santa Cruz, and I love it. I won't change anything. I teach at the medical school for 16 years. love what I do. Do I like this? Why? Because obviously I know the medical benefits and I know everybody needs it. I'd say 99 out of 100 people need it at this point. But I also like the idea that my people that can't feel like they don't afford it, it empowers them that they can. And I love it. Once I understood that Stanford and Harvard are now doing MBAs in network marketing, it's like, this is a very viable business model. A lot of people have had a bad experience. This company is actually changing that. It's actually having people have a different experience to heal the places where other people have gone wrong. So I love this team. Raise your hand if you're a part of the team right now already. Oh, great. Great group of people. We need more men. We need more dudes in this group. Yeah. All right. So that's my presentation. I'm going to stand for questions, stay after. If you have specific questions, of course, definitely talk to me. And if you think your question is relative to everybody, we can take it as a group.
So when somebody starts this,
Yes.
their first question is,